As the world mourns Pope Francis, history's most secretive transfer of power begins. White smoke, the path to a new pope, guides you through this momentous transition. We explain exactly what happens next, leading to the dramatic conclave vote. Learn how each ritual unfolds, what each tradition means, and why these ancient ceremonies still matter today. Follow along as the throne of St. Peter stands empty and a new chapter in church history begins. White Smoke, available wherever you get your podcasts.
What happens when political fiction starts to become reality? James Bennett, former action star turned popular California governor who returned to acting, stars in a hit streaming drama about seizing political power. When his former chief of staff suggests turning fiction into reality, the line between entertainment and conspiracy disappears. As a viral marketing campaign creates mass confusion, Bennett faces an impossible choice. When unexpected events in Washington coincide with the show's pivotal episode, is it a brilliant promotion or something more sinister? Acting President, 8 episodes of political intrigue where entertainment becomes a dangerous game. Acting President, wherever you get your podcasts.
Calaroga Shark Media.
Latin chants resounded and bells tolled as Pope Francis's coffin was carried in a solemn procession on Wednesday from the Vatican to St. Peter's Square, where crowds gathered under the warm Roman sun to say goodbye to the pontiff. The long procession of red-hatted cardinals, bishops in violet capes, and Swiss guards in their distinctive uniforms moved through applauding crowds before entering the Basilica with the coffin of Francis, who died on Monday morning at the age of 88. This is White Smoke. Inside the Basilica, the casket was carried across the central aisle and placed in front of Bernini's bronze canopy as a choir chanted the names of Roman Catholic saints. Cardinals and bishops lined up 2 by 2 to bow farewell, crossing themselves in front of the coffin where Francis' body rested on red fabric. Mourners began filing into St. Peter's Basilica after barriers to Vatican Square were opened, bringing relief to crowds that had been standing in line for several hours. Once inside, the crowd narrowed to a slow-moving column as people paid their final respects to Francis, whose body is lying in an open casket in front of the Basilica's altar of confession, which Catholics believe lies above the tomb of St. Peter. The coffin was not placed on an elevated platform, but positioned simply facing the pews. Francis reformed his own funeral rites to ensure they reflected his wish to be remembered as a shepherd and disciple, and not of a powerful man of this world. In the words of Archbishop Diego Ravelli, Master of Apostolic Ceremonies, the Basilica will remain open until midnight local time to accommodate the thousands wishing to pay their respects. The Holy See press office has announced that Pope Francis' coffin will be closed on Friday at 8 p.m. local time. Cardinal Kevin Farrell, who has been serving as Camerlengo since the Pope's death, will preside over this solemn ritual as final preparations are made for Saturday's funeral. The funeral has been set for Saturday at 10 a.m. in St. Peter's Square. According to his testament dated June 2022, Pope Francis will be buried in the Basilica of St. Mary Major in Rome. It is estimated 250,000 people may attend. Vatican officials revealed Tuesday that Pope Francis's last words before his death were an expression of thanks to his personal nurse and caregiver, Massimiliano Strapezzi. After hesitating to surprise the 50,000 faithful gathered in St. Peter's Square following his Easter blessing, Francis asked Strapezzi, "Do you think I can manage it?" Once reassured, he took his tour of the square, embracing people, especially children, along his route. "Thank you for bringing me back to the square," Francis, often called the People's Pope, told his personal healthcare assistant afterward. Francis rested Sunday afternoon following this final public appearance and had a quiet dinner. On Easter Monday morning, around 5:30 a.m., he showed the first signs of illness and fell into a coma an hour later, making a gesture of farewell with his hand to Strapetti. The Pope died shortly after, following a heart attack. Those at his side reported that Francis did not suffer, and his death happened quickly. The Pope's death follows years of ongoing health concerns, including a recent hospitalization for double pneumonia. His body was initially laid in state at the Vatican in a wooden casket, wearing red vestments and his bishop's mitre.
Want this podcast without interruptions? Calaroga Plus delivers this show and over 20 premium shows completely ad-free, right to your favorite podcast player. We've just added exciting new series including Signal Lost. What happens when the most sensitive military intelligence in the world ends up on the wrong phone? White Smoke, taking you behind the scenes of all the interesting things that happen at the Vatican. And Pager Protocol, a thriller about getting exploding pagers into the hands of the bad guys. Plus, receive all your existing favorites like Palace Intrigue about the royal family, daily comedy news, 5 daily trivia questions, and 5 good news stories. Apple Podcast users, simply tap the banner in your Apple Podcasts app that says, Uninterrupted Listening, Spotify and other players. Visit calaroga.com/plus. If you missed all that, check the links in the show notes. It's just $4.99 a month for no ads. Listen on any device, on any player you love, completely hassle-free.
Rome and the Vatican have significantly increased security measures in preparation for the weekend's events. It's worth noting that 2025 is a holy year, a jubilee that occurs only once every couple of decades. So authorities had already established security protocols to handle the large numbers of Catholics heading to the Vatican. Since Pope Francis's death, these measures have been further enhanced. This morning, police barricades were visible throughout the area, with officers conducting thorough checks on all those entering St. Peter's Square. The BBC reports that additional security technology has been deployed as well. A reporter observed a soldier carrying what appeared to be a handheld drone countermeasure device. When questioned, the soldier described it as a precaution against drones, though he was understandably tight-lipped about its specific capabilities. The device resembles what experts call a drone hammer, technology designed to disrupt drone radio frequencies and potentially force unauthorized drones to return to their starting points. When pressed further about these capabilities, the soldier responded cryptically, "Maybe, among other things." As we've covered in previous episodes, attention now turns to the upcoming conclave to select Pope Francis's successor. Archbishop of Lima Cardinal Castillo, who will participate in these deliberations, provided insight into the process. Speaking to reporters in Peru, Archbishop Castillo explained that papal elections differ significantly from secular voting systems. The votes don't have candidates like the elections we have in society, he said. No one can publicly say any name, but rather in conscience, through the knowledge we have built of each of them. Because they have spoken, they have talked, they have given opinions. Castillo noted that Pope Francis was elected because he best summarized all the debates that took place during the process. The voting typically begins with scattered results in the first round, which Castillo compared to a pre-election. Subsequent votes continue until a 2/3 majority is reached. He revealed that Pope Francis's election required 5 rounds of voting, while his predecessor Benedict was selected after just 1 round. White Smoke is a production of Calaroga Shark Media. Executive producers, John McDermott and Mark Francis.